Ever wondered why some countries grow rich while others struggle, or how trade, resources, and borders shape the world we live in? Welcome to Class Bites. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of economic and political geography, exploring how nations, resources, and global strategies connect to shape life across the planet. Economic and political geography is a field of study that explores how human societies organize, manage, and interact with resources, trade, governance, and territorial boundaries. At its core, it seeks to understand why some regions are wealthy while others struggle, why nations cooperate or conflict, and how the distribution of natural and human-made resources shapes human activity across the globe. Resources form the foundation of the study. They include both natural resources like water, minerals, forests, and fertile land, and human resources such as labor, skills, and knowledge. The availability and accessibility of these resources influence the economic strength of regions, determining the types of industries that develop, the kinds of goods and services produced, and the overall wealth of a society. Regions rich in energy sources or fertile land, for example, often attract investment and population, while areas with fewer resources may need to rely on trade or innovation to sustain their economies. Trade is a central element of economic geography because it allows regions to obtain resources they lack and to sell goods they produce efficiently. Trade can occur within nations or between them, and it shapes the global economy by creating networks of exchange, dependence, and competition. Transportation routes, both on land and sea, play a critical role in facilitating trade, linking producers to consumers across vast distances. Historically, areas located along rivers, coastlines, or crossroads of land routes have often become centers of commerce and cultural exchange. Trade not only moves goods, but also ideas, technology, and cultural practices, gradually transforming societies and influencing political and economic systems. Economic systems are the frameworks through which societies organize the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. They determine how resources are used, who makes decisions about production, and how wealth is shared among populations. Some systems rely heavily on market forces, where supply and demand guide economic activity, while others depend on centralized planning, with governments controlling production and distribution. Mixed systems combine elements of both, attempting to balance efficiency, equity, and social welfare. The nature of a country's economic system affects its ability to develop, compete internationally, and provide for its citizens, as well as its relationships with other nations. Nations themselves are political entities that occupy defined territories and exercise authority over populations through governments. Borders, both physical and conceptual, define the limits of national control and sovereignty. They can follow natural features such as rivers and mountains, or be established through historical agreements, wars, and negotiations. Borders are not merely lines on a map. They shape the movement of people, goods, and ideas. They influence immigration, trade policies, and security strategies, and can sometimes become sources of conflict when different groups claim the same land or when resources straddle boundaries. Political geography studies how these boundaries evolve, how states interact across them, and how power is distributed geographically. Geopolitics is the study of the interplay between geography, economics, and political power on the global stage. It examines how the physical location of countries, access to resources, strategic positions, and economic capacities influence international relations and decision-making. Nations seek to secure their interests by forming alliances, engaging in trade, establishing military presence, and sometimes competing for territory or resources. Geopolitical considerations often shape foreign policy, defense strategies, and international negotiations, affecting everything from the stability of regions to global markets. The relationships among nations are influenced by both cooperation and competition, with economic and resource factors frequently at the center of disputes or collaborations. The interaction of resources, trade, economic systems, nations, borders, and geopolitics creates a complex web of influence that affects human societies at local, regional, and global scales. A country rich in resources may have an advantage in trade, but may also face political challenges in managing them. Similarly, a strategically located nation may control vital trade routes, enhancing its geopolitical importance even if it lacks abundant natural wealth. Economic and political geography helps explain why some nations become centers of power, why conflicts arise over territories or resources, and how international cooperation can develop in areas such as trade agreements, environmental management, and security partnerships. Understanding economic and political geography provides insight into the patterns of human development, inequality, and global interaction. It highlights the ways in which geography shapes political decisions and economic opportunities, illustrating that wealth, power, and stability are not evenly distributed, but are deeply influenced by the spatial arrangement of resources, populations, and borders. Through this lens, one can see how decisions made in one part of the world can ripple across continents, affecting trade, diplomacy, and the lives of millions of people. The study encourages careful consideration of the balance between natural advantages, human ingenuity, and political organization, offering a clearer picture of why the world looks and functions as it does today. This interconnected perspective reminds us that geography is not just about maps or physical landscapes, but about the dynamic relationship between humans, their resources, and the political and economic structures they create. It provides a framework for analyzing current events, predicting potential conflicts or collaborations, and planning for sustainable development in a world where resources are finite, populations are growing, and global interactions are constant. In essence, economic and political geography allows us to see the invisible lines that connect resources to trade, trade to economic systems to nations, and nations to the broader dynamics of power and strategy shaping both the present and the future of human society. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts, or let us know what topic you'd love to see next in the comments below.